Hey family, what's good? This is your girl in the brown skies, and I'm actually here today to do another strawberry letter. Before I get into today's video, I want to remind you guys to check out my book. It's called The Dating Game: How to Find Yourself While Looking for Mr. Right. It's on CreateSpace, Amazon, and also downloadable in Kindle. Be sure to read the reviews. I think there's over 70 reviews of the book already, so be sure to check that out. And if you like it, go ahead and purchase it. I really appreciate your support. Anyway, without any further ado, let's get started with today's video. Let's go get 'em. So I'm 29 years old and have been in a relationship with a guy that's 25 years older than I am for about 7 years. I have 3 children ages 12, 5, and 3. I'm black, he's white. Not that matters, but it does, you know? I met him at a bar and I had no business in when I was 19. We formed a relationship and 2 years later he asked me out, and I honestly was going to say no, but I asked my mom what she thought about it and she told me to try something new, so I did. He was nice, a gentleman, and you know, everything I thought I wanted at 21. I was a single mother at the time and working 72 hours a week to provide for myself and my daughter. I had my own place, and although it wasn't the best, it was mine, and we were happy. I got pregnant with my first son in 2010. The pregnancy was horrible. I was very sick the entire 9 months, so because of that I was unable to work. So that is when we moved in together. Well, my daughter and I moved into his house and everything changed. I felt like once I became dependent on him, he just stopped caring. So I had my son and I agreed to be a stay-at-home mom. To be honest, it was a much needed break. I had been working 12-hour shifts since I was 17. So I had my youngest son in 2012. That was also the last time we had any sexual contact. Yes, 2012. Just in case I went on birth control right after I gave birth. Okay, so when I stopped nursing my youngest son, I was ready to get back out there and decided to go back to school. I was in college cosmetology school when I got pregnant with my daughter, but I had to quit. So I decided it was time to follow my passion and I got my license. BG, it was the biggest argument we've ever had. All he did was try to discourage me from going to school. He didn't help with the sitter, didn't help with student loans, nothing. So I moved my mother in and she lived with us until I finished school. During that time, he was not supportive, not encouraging, nothing. I got all 100s on all of my tests, graduated at the top of my class, won awards, and yes, passed my boards and got my license in 2014. Once I finished school, my mom moved out. She doesn't babysit the kids. She sees them, but I'm unable to work because I don't have a sitter. There are programs that will pay for childcare, but because I don't work and I live with him, even though he's not my husband, I do not qualify for any of the help. I'm gonna have to summarize this. It's really, really long. Because she never got any support from her man, she decided to start her own business. So she has her own business making natural hair care products and is doing really, really well. And the man is still not being very supportive. Every time she brings it up, he tells her if she doesn't like the way that things are, that she could leave. But she lives with him. The house is not in her name. The car is not in her name. Nothing is in her name. And it makes her feel very insecure and very unstable. And so she's really upset because she doesn't know what she should do. She says she's a young woman and she wants to have sex. They haven't even had sex in 2012. She's like, I'm not happy. She also says that her 3-year-old son is not talking, and he's not talking. She feels like the man who's in the relationship isn't very interactive with the children. He thinks he's a good father, according to her. She says that he'll say that he's the world's best dad, but he gets home and he's tired and he doesn't have any energy to interact with his kids. And the mother-in-law has definitely changed. Now, this is the same mother-in-law that originally lived with her in the beginning to help her get through school. She now no longer approves of their interracial relationship and now doesn't even approve of the biracial children. The mother has gone so far as to say that the reason why the 3-year-old is not talking, get this, because of the white sperm. So clearly the mother-in-law is tripping. Let me just put that out there. So anyway, the writer of the letter doesn't know what to do. She's saying that, she feels kind of stuck. The reason why I wanted to make your particular strawberry letter is because you did the one thing he never expected you to do, the one thing he hoped you would never do. You grew up. He's 25 years older than you. You said you met him when you were 21. In a way, he fathered you. I'm not trying to say that in a way that's disrespectful or a way that's gross, but there's some men that look for a woman and they happen to fall in love with a younger woman, and there are some men who seek out younger women because they have ulterior motives, because they want a woman that they can mold, that they can shape. They want a woman that's not going to talk back. He thought that he could impress you with shiny things. So he's got a nice house for you and a nice car for you, and he tells you to be grateful, even though you're not being intimate, even though he's not being the best father. He thinks if he gives you stuff, that's all you need. And the older that you're getting, the more you're starting to become a woman. You don't become a woman at 18. You actually grow into womanhood, just like you grow into manhood. It's something that you step into. The older you get, the more you're starting to realize things that you took for granted before. The older you is not finding him attractive. The older you is not attracted to somebody just paying for everything. You have discovered your sense of independence. And that's why you guys are having all of this turmoil, because he wanted somebody that needed him. He wanted somebody that was dependent on him, somebody that he could control. That's why he wanted somebody as young as you were, somebody impressionable. And so the older that you get, the more he's starting to realize that you're not going to be what he wants, and you're realizing that he's not going to be what you want, because you're becoming a woman. And when you met with him, he thought you were just a girl. So you said in your letter, one of the reasons why you're reluctant to leave is because of your children. And you're afraid at how you leaving may affect them in a negative way, especially your 3-year-old who's already not talking. You don't want to stay with someone because you feel like you owe them. You know, you said in the letter that, he took care of you, and he moved you and your daughter in when you really needed him, and he's been there providing a roof over your head and giving you shelter. You say you drive a nice car, but it's his car. You live in a nice house, but it's his house. You want to have a voice. And if you feel like that's something that's important to you, if that's a deal breaker for you, then you have to decide what you're going to do. This man isn't your husband. You are not obligated. You are not chained to this man. If it's not working out, then why are you going to continue to be in a loveless, sexless relationship? Now, because I'm a Christian, I can't advocate for you to want to be having sex. I'm a Christian, I have to say that. But I'm just saying, even if this man was your husband, you guys haven't been intimate since 2012, girl. Girl. He loved the 21-year-old you, but you're not that woman anymore. And he's not willing to change and grow with you. He wants to be stuck back with that girl. You said every time you talk about trying to make things and make changes on your own, anytime you flex your independence, he gets upset because he wanted somebody he could be fatherly over. And you're saying, I'm not a girl anymore. I'm a woman. I think you already know what you should do. I think you should cut your losses. I think you should plan your escape, so to speak. You said he's never been physically abusive, but he is verbally abusive to you, putting you down, never encouraging you, never supporting you. Like, so why are you staying? Because you need a house and a nice car? Some things are more important than stuff. You're staying with this man who does nothing but belittle you, and who doesn't believe in you or believe in your dreams, who isn't supportive, you said he's not being active with your children. He thinks he's an amazing father just because he provides a roof over your head. You can do that. You can do that on your own. He doesn't even interact with the children. As a mother, you have to make the best decision for you and your family. That's why I feel like it's important for women, especially, to not just expect to marry well. What are you bringing to the table? I always tell you guys about this quote that I absolutely love. Don't let what he brings to the table be all you have to eat. That's the way that I was raised. My father raised my sister and I to be a helpmeet to a husband. To be a helpmeet. To go out there and get our own education so that we can take care of ourselves. You have to be self-reliant. You still have to have a skill. I'm not saying that if you're a stay-at-home mom that that's a bad thing. I'm not saying any of that, but you should at least have some kind of skill to fall back on. What if, God forbid, something were to happen to your husband? How will you and your children survive? How will you make it? Even if that means you take a class here and there, or you work on your degree that takes you 10 years to get it, all I'm saying is, as a woman, you have to be able to take care of yourself and provide for yourself. You can't rely solely on your husband. I'm not saying that you're going to plan for the future, you're going to plan for the idea that your husband may leave you, may divorce you. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you have to be self-reliant. You have kids who depend on you. What if, because of the fact that you're not married, what if something happens to him? You get nothing. You don't get the house, you don't get the car, you don't get any of those things because you depended on him. You have to establish things for yourself, for your own safety, and for your own security, and for the security of your children, to make sure that they'll be taken care of if something like that were to happen. And too much of your life is dependent on his whim. You said he always tells you if you don't like it, you can leave, knowing you have no place else to go. You need to make sure that you make provisions for that. Because what if, God forbid, this man comes home and he meets a brand new 21-year-old? Then what are you going to do? This isn't about him. This is about you and your children. You've been waiting on him to make every decision in your relationship since the very beginning. Now, you say you're a grown-up. This is a grown-up decision you have to make. Prove it. You say you're grown. Prove it. He don't want me to work. He don't want me to do this. And you've had to fight and scratch and claw for everything that you've accomplished. Continue doing so. Don't let his lack of support keep you unmotivated. You fight even harder to get what you need. This is not just about you. The minute you become a mother, it is not just about you. What about your children? Is he providing the best life for your children? Now, I'm not talking about just financially, emotionally, physically. The environment in which you all live in, is that the best environment for your children to thrive in? You owe him nothing. Don't feel indebted to him. That's what a lot of men want. They give you all these things in the beginning. He wants you to be dependent on him for everything. You have to ask permission like a little girl. Can I get this new dress I saw? Can I get that? Can I get this? It's different if the man respected your role as a mother and a keeper of a house. It's different if a man respected you like that. But he doesn't even give you that respect. Calls you names, calls you stupid and all this. You had to went out there and prove that you can be smart enough to get an education, so you did that. Got all 100s, got all these awards, passed your boards, got certified, got your license, everything, and he still doesn't accept your intelligence. He doesn't respect you. You never demanded it from him. He's so used to 21-year-old you, he doesn't even know this new woman that he's living with. Introduce him to her, okay? Alright, so that is pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. Be sure to thumbs up if you guys enjoyed. And also, if you want to hear more of my thoughts and opinions on life, love, and relationships, be sure to check out my book, The Dating Game, How to Find Yourself While Looking for Mr. Right, on CreateSpace, Amazon, and also on Kindle. Of course, I'll be sure to link it below. Check out my previous Strawberry Letter. I'll link that below for you guys as well. I'll see you in the next video. Till next time, later divas and dudes. Deuces, honey.